Welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody. Thanks for watching the show. I'm your host, Coach Paul Tripoli, here with a former Bama safety. We were both strong safeties at Alabama. This is Robin Cary. Robin, thanks for joining the show today, buddy.
Fine, bud. Having a good time already.
Oh, my gosh. We got so much to talk about. But here on Coach's Corner, we try to inspire and educate the mind to think, the heart to feel, and the body to act. As Robin did all of that in his career. He grew up in Greenwood, South Carolina. I want to start from the beginning, Rob. Talk about your mom and dad and any siblings that you had.
Well, my mother and father, they were both from Pensacola. And my father was a ship supervisor with Monsanto. And we got moved up to a place called Greenwood, South Carolina. When I was 12. They sent, okay. I think, about 1,500 employees up there. They wanted to mix the nylon with the cotton. Uh-huh. And that was when my brother, of course, he came with us, younger brother, Jeff Cary. Mm-hmm. And we started up there. Greenwood was a happening place. They didn't even have one McDonald's or a pizza place or anything. It was an experience.
One horse town. Well, talk about your high school and playing multiple sports. Did you play football and baseball only in high school?
Yeah. Played at Greenwood High School. The coaches there. He's in the Coaches Hall of Fame, Coach J.W. Pinky Babb. He tremendous. He and Coach Bryant were a lot alike.
Wow.
And then I also had a great assistant coach, excuse me, Sonny Yance. He had played ball at Carolina, and he really helped me out a lot on defense. And but then on baseball, started playing baseball on the high school team, varsity, when I was in the 8th grade.
Wow.
I was going to junior high, and I had to, after school was over, I had to take the school bus up to the high school for practice every day.
Oh my gosh. How was your high school baseball coach? Because your high school football coach, Coach Babb,
he was also the baseball coach, as well as Coach Yance. Both of them were, and
wow, that's interesting. Interesting, Coach Babb. It's interesting that you say Coach Babb is a lot like Coach Bryant. I had Tommy Wilcox on my show, another great strong safety. At Alabama, right? I've had a few strong safeties from Alabama on the show, and he said his high school coach was way, way, way above average. I had George O'Leary, so he was way, way, way above average.
Yeah,
I think those guys had something to do with us getting ready for Coach Bryant. But talk about how you got to Marion and why you went to Marion Institute instead of Alabama out of high school.
Well, I'd already signed with Alabama and then had to take the ACT test, and I didn't make high enough on there. I had to make 17. Well, and the day before I took that test, we had our senior prom, and Greenwood is 60 miles from Clemson, and Clemson's where I had to take that test. Needless to say,
you weren't in the right rested frame of mind.
I was in what they say the bottom category. But anyway, I got Coach Bryant called me up. I'll never forget. He called me up, and I was just looking at in the mail. He called me up before the mail was there to tell me that I needed my rear end kick, and I hadn't even opened the mail yet, and he already knew it. So he said, "This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna go to Marion Institute. It's a place in Alabama, and you're going to pass a test, and you're going to go there and play football and baseball.
Wow.
And you'll be there 1 year, and then you will transfer up to Tuscaloosa. And of course, you would have to be redshirted anyway. So that would be your redshirt year.
Oh, wow. Wow. Marion Institute. I played there. We had a member at Alabama. We had a JV team in the 70s and early 80s.
Yep.
We had a JV team. I don't know how far back the JV team went, but Marion Institute was one of the teams that the Alabama JV team played. Did they have a JV team at Bama when you were in there? And did you play against Bama JV team when you were at Marion?
No, we played against like Memphis State, Southern Miss, several of them. Gordon Military School.
What? The varsity?
Memphis State and UT Chattanooga. It was not their varsity, but there was a lot of their varsity guys that were there, like second teamers. They were on the team.
Oh, okay. So you played well enough in Marion in baseball and football to impress Coach Bryant, right? You're All-American at Marion. Talk about that year there and what you learned, especially about going to school and taking care of your grades.
Well, more or less, it was the educational part of it, and plus it was a good place where you could learn and work on the courses you needed to, and had some good teachers as well as professors.
Did you get drafted by the Mets? And what year did you get drafted by the Mets?
I think it was 60, 68 or 69.
Out of high school?
Yeah.
Wow. So Coach Bryant had an influence on your decision, because we're going to talk about in a minute how much he loved baseball.
Well, he made it where I was playing football and baseball at Marion, and my scholarship to Alabama was for football, but it had to continue. If I could make the baseball team, I could play baseball.
Yeah, talk about that conversation with Coach Bryant about playing both.
Well, when after my sophomore year, I was lucky enough to make All SEC, and so I was trying to get on merit scholarship, which is $350 more, and there was or either I had my $15 laundry check, but anyway, I went to him and was asking him to get on the merit scholarship, and I asked him. I went in his office. He said, "What can I do for you, Robin?" I said, "Well, I was wondering about getting on the merit scholarship." And he said, "Well, why do you think you deserve to be on merit scholarship?" I said, "Well," I said, I was one of the few sophomores to make traveling squad, and then playing baseball. I was All SEC this year." And he said, "Whoa, wait a minute." He said, "You're playing baseball because you want to play baseball, not because I want you to play baseball. I'd lot rather have you out there in that spring on that turf, and you be playing, practicing.
Right.
And but you're playing baseball because you want to play baseball. I could care less about baseball." And there was a few other explanations in there, and
exactly what Coach Bryant.
Along with this. But he told me, he said, "If you, whenever you show me you deserve to be here on merit scholarship, you'll be on there." Mm-hmm. And luckily, our first game we played that year, I think it was against California. And I was lucky enough to pick off a pass, and it basically was on their 20 and just walk in. And Richard Todd and myself, we were sitting up at our apartment, and and Coach on the Coach Bryant show, it got to the part where I went on in, and he said, I don't know if Robin's watching or not, but if he is, I want him to come to my office tomorrow because he wanted something in the spring, and I'm going to give it to him. Well, I jumped up in the air, and Richard Todd looked at me, and Richard said, "What is wrong with you?" I told him, I said, "Bubba, I just got me a $350 bonus." And Richard and I, we started drinking more tea.
You started drinking a lot of spiked tea.
Yes, sir.
A lot of tea. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That's a great story. Yeah, that's what Coach Bryant was full of stories.
Well, Paul, excuse me. What got me? That was back when I went to ask him for this. That was back in May, and all that time he had still remembered what he told me.
Yeah.
And as you know yourself, if Coach Bryant told you anything, you could put it down in concrete.
Right. Absolutely. He never forgot anything, and he was attention to details. He was a master of preparating with details.
He certainly was. I tell you what, we were up in Kentucky playing the first game up in Commonwealth Stadium. They have a big crowd, and we were having one of these games where the pitching and catching, which that's an option, and we had a couple of fumbles, and offense wasn't going too good. But we were worried about Coach Bryant coming into the locker room. He was going to kill somebody. But anyway, he comes in there and he looks around and he says, "What's going on? What your head's doing down? Look, this is the first game they've ever played here." He said, "We're having a little trouble with the pitching and catching, and what we're going to do, we're going to concentrate more on that. Now, what we're going to do," he asked Coach Hennessy, "didn't we get the football on the kickoff?" And Coach Hennessy told him, "Yes, sir, Coach." And he said, "Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to run the ball back on the kickoff all the way. And then we're just going to start and just kick their ass the rest of the game." Well, it just so happens it didn't go to me. It went to Wilby Shelby. Wilby Shelby goes 101 yards. And I looked at Bud next to Jimmy Dale Dawson, and I told him, I said, "You believe in this?" And then comes up, and Kentucky the second half, never got past their own 35-yard line.
Oh my God!
And we ended up beating them. I think it was something in the neighborhood of, I think it was right at about 38-14.
Gosh, man, the Cal game, you had that pick six. You guys beat them 66-0. You beat Virginia Tech 77-6. Miami 43-13 in the 1973 national championship year. Coach Bryant was a master psychologist, and he knew how to use reverse psychology. If you were down and you were losing, he would pick you up and throw you in there, to the wolves, ready to go. If you were winning and had felt a little cocky, he would rip you a new one and humble you quickly. I mean, he knew how to push everybody's buttons, and that's all right. So when you guys flew, I want you to tell this story. You sat. Where did you sit on the airplanes, and who did you play cards with, and why was it you playing cards with Miss Mary?
On the airplane, there was one time, and Ms. Bryant, she trying to find somebody to play rummy with her.
Right.
And I told her I knew how to play rummy. Nobody else said anything, so I was up there. So every away game and all, that was my seat right next to Ms. Bryant, where we play rummy the whole way.
Oh my gosh, you didn't mind that either, huh? You let Coach Bryant, let Coach Bryant worry about the game, and you had to entertain Miss Mary Harmon Bryant.
Yeah. He, so I had me a seat on that plane.
Oh my gosh. All right. So the picture right behind me, that is you. I think maybe in the Tennessee game. I'm not sure, but you got to tell
I think it might have been.
Folks, this is not trick photography. This is a real picture of Robin Cary wearing a visor over his helmet. Good Lord have mercy. The balls you must have had to do that with Coach Bryant standing there. You got to tell that story about how you picked that visor and what Coach Bryant said to you verbatim after
that. Well, it was right at the end of the first quarter, and we had very few day games back then. We were basically playing at night. Anyway, so right there at the end of the quarter, we were switching sides, of course. Right. Well, and ended up, and I had the sun was going to be in my eyes. I saw that. Well, I went running behind the. I went running behind the bench, and I grabbed the visor and I put it around that helmet and had to stretch it out a little bit. Went out there and caught the ball, and I don't think I fair caught it, but I didn't get it, but maybe 2 or 3 yards, something like that. Well, I came over to the sideline, and Coach Bryant, he had already came over and got that sideline too. And where I came up in there. Well, I didn't know I had to ask him for to do that. But anyway, I went on up in there, and he said, "Where in the hell did you get that visor? Why are you wearing it?" And I told him, because the sun was in my eyes. We swapped. Sun was in your eyes. And you could see he was evaluating what I was telling him. And he told me, he said, well, good. He said, "I'm glad you're thinking. Glad you're keeping your head in the ball game. That's a good play." He said, "Because I'm gonna tell you something. I came down there, and if you'd have dropped that ball, I was gonna put this size 12 up your ass." So, and he never said another word about it.
Oh my God, that's hilarious! Oh
and
my
he
God.
had a and he had a size 12.
Oh my God, I bet he did, and he would have too, man, if you'd have dropped that ball with a visor over your head. But he appreciated, man. He was like, he gave you the good part, then he gave you the bad part, how bad it could have been. So you did it I think you did it 3 or 4 more times. But did your teammates or another coach say something to you, or the press? Somebody had to, because I have never seen that.
Well, they gave me a little write-up, I think, in the Tuscaloosa News. 10 years later, Deion Sanders did that. And,
he did?
Oh yeah. He did it. And he got all kind of publicity and everything else.
You were the one who started it.
Yeah. All I was trying to do is make sure I saw the ball.
I guess didn't want to drop it. Yeah.
No. If I'd have dropped it, done. I'd been done.
All right, let's jump forward to 1973, the national championship year. Tennessee game, 21-21. You take a punt and go untouched. Is it true you were untouched, 62 yards for a TD?
I broke a little tackle trying to get to the wall. And This is one thing else I couldn't believe, but we were running a middle return, and I had a lot of good blocking. Next thing I know, it was me and like the punter that they had, and I just had to put a little move on him. But the good thing about it is he was breaking down to try to tackle, and he went all the way back, and he was sitting on his ass. And then it had some good, like I said, real good blocking, and walked on in there, and
wow,
ended up working. But the thing about that game, Paul, I did. I ran the touchdown. We held them on defense. They punted to us. Then Wilbur Jackson goes 20 yards and on a tremendous run. He ended up crossing the whole field. He had a lot of good blocking. And then on the following kickoff, I tackled the guy on about the 15-yard line and recovered the fumble. And Paul Spivey, in the first play, he goes off. He scores from 15 yards out. And we beat them 42-21. And it looked like that we just manhandled them. And in no way did we manhandle them.
Is it true that, gosh, is it true Willie Shelby returned a punt for 52 yards and Duffy Bowles returned a 62-yard punt? How did he have so many guys?
That was, I think that was in a Virginia Tech game.
Yeah, the Virginia Tech game. How did he have so many returners in one game?
And I think we intercepted 7 to 9 passes against Don Strock.
Oh my!
He was a quarterback then.
He had 7 or 8 interceptions in that one game.
The defensive background, sure did.
How many picks did you have at Bama total?
I think about 3.
3.
Yeah.
All right. So
you don't pick too many strong safety, you know that.
No, you don't. No, I think I had 3. I think I had 3 too, 3 or 4 in my career. Yeah. You don't pick too many strong safety. You just got to tackle because you're like another linebacker.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
So I'm going to mention some names, and you just describe these guys. John Hanna. You play with Hanna?
The best.
Yeah, the best ever.
Yeah.
He had little brothers. He had 2 little brothers, that Charlie and David, is it?
Well,
I can't remember.
Yeah, Charlie was there, and David came on up last. But Charlie, what amazed me about Charlie, a great guy. Of course, John is too. But Charlie, he played defensive tackle at Alabama. He gets drafted, I think it was in the 3rd or 4th round, and they put him at offensive guard or tackle.
Oh, my gosh.
He had never played it before.
He
was all pro.
Wow. Those Hanna brothers are amazing. I would love to get John Hanna on the show, man.
I tell you, well, he's up. I think he's up still around
New York?
Oh, dadgummit. Wherever he's up there around
New York,
Huntsville, I think.
Huntsville?
I mean it's up around there. It's a little town up in there.
Man, him and the Hannas and they just Marty Lyons. What a great New York Jet. What a great person Marty Lyons is. I just told a story the other night about the goal line stand with Marty Lyons, man.
Barry Krause.
Telling if you've seen it, you got about a foot to go. You better throw the ball. And they didn't take his advice.
Yeah.
All right.
Tell you what.
One of your heroes, one of your guys, Johnny Musso, one of you guys you looked up to.
Oh, a regular guy you would never known. He'd run over you and help you up. Great guy, fantastic. I was very, very lucky. We had a real close team, Paul, and we had a lot of good ball players, but everybody got along.
Right.
And you take up somebody else's slack, but we had it where that when it was this is your responsibility. Boom, that's what you did. And everybody doing that, it made pretty hard to get to run against them.
You know, when I got to Alabama, man, there's so many really, really just good guys. But when you stepped on the field, they would turn the switch and they would go from Jekyll to Hyde or Hyde to Jekyll, man. I mean, those guys, Rocky Colburn, Tommy Wilcox, I could just go on and on and on about all the guys that were really nice guys off the field, but when you step between the lines, you better buckle up. And Coach Bryant talked about that all the time. He talked about, being super, super tough, but also he talked about sportsmanship. And he was a great loser. He didn't lose much, but I think it was Bud Wilkinson from Oklahoma when he broke Bud Wilkinson's 32-game win streak when he was just getting into coaching, and Bud Wilkinson came in the locker room and congratulated him. Coach Bryant was flabbergasted at the amount of class that he showed, and he vowed at that time never to be a sore loser ever again, and he never was. But he was so competitive, he probably was beforehand. As a coach, I could not live up to his standard, Rob.
Well, the thing is, he was a man of his word. If he told you something, that was what it was going to be.
Write it down, and you can book it.
You can, like I said, you can mark it down in concrete,
right?
I mean, because that's what's going to happen. And while you were playing for Coach Bryant, the main thing that you get out of it, you being a player, was he was going to do what, like I said, what he said he was going to. But you always knew where you stood. You being a player, that's the most valuable thing in the world, because he tells you something, okay, this is going to happen. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to guess about it. This is what's going to happen. You need to pick it up. He tells you need to pick it up.
Man, and he would, one of his coaches that I had on my show a couple months ago told me that coached with him. Said he people don't know this, but he made every single substitution in a football game in every position on the field. That just doesn't happen today. It's unheard of today. But he made. Right. I did not know that, because I got thrown in my sophomore year in the first game of the year against Georgia Tech, and I my teammate was nudging me. Coach Bryant's calling you, and I'm like, no way. And he said, yeah, you better get up there. So I get up there, and he sends me in for Stan Gay. And I looked at him. I said, now, get your ass in there. But I didn't know that. But he made every substitution. And I think the great teams, like your title team in '73, they did have that closeness together.
Yeah.
Have you guys had a reunion for that '73?
Yeah. Glad you asked. We had a reunion this past year. It was the 50th. And this past year, and we had like 60 guys.
Oh my God!
60 guys. 60 I didn't think half of us. I didn't think half of us would still be alive. And we had that. I mean,
oh my gosh! Every guy that was alive was probably there.
Let me tell you something. Everybody, he always had that envelope that big vanilla envelope in his hand. And everybody always thought, oh, I'm talking about these are fans and stuff. Oh, those are, that's Coach Bryant's secret plays. Those are his secret plays. What that was Coach Bryant's depth chart. And when somebody get hurt, he'd scratch them off. But he had everybody on there, and that's how he could keep up with who got hurt and who was playing. But everybody thought it was his secret plays. You can't let anything happen to that.
Oh my gosh, you did not want to be injured on Coach Bryant's fields. You did not want to be one of those injured players.
Yeah, I tell you what,
we actually had to wear orange or something. We had to wear like Auburn color or Tennessee colors when we were injured.
Well, one thing that I did see, and this was my freshman, you just didn't want to get that brown one.
Yeah, that brown one. Yeah, that's because he turned. That's what it was. He thought they were turned. Yeah, he didn't call them names. He didn't really say bad things about other people, but he would call out the turds. The ones that were lazy, he had no business, being any business.
But I tell you what, I had seen guys they were hurt, but it was just like a little nick or something like that. Well, they were in the training room, wasn't practicing in the training room, and whenever they got ready to go back in or start practicing in, he'd always start them off. Excuse me, he'd always start them off in the third team. Now, this is a guy who was first team, and I'd seen those guys that he come back on third team. They never got past third team. They never got back to starting.
Because I got injured and went down to 13.
The guy that was behind you, they were always just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
They were just waiting on their shot.
Right. Right.
And when they took their shot, they made advantage. They took advantage of it.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Robin. You know, the backups were just as good, and sometimes the guy ahead of you does not get hurt. You don't get your chance. I told the story of Chris Good, how he only started one game in Alabama and then 7 straight years for the Indianapolis Colts. So
yeah,
that was an example of, hey, you better not get hurt because the guy behind you will take it. All right. So
what did you think about Barry Krause?
What's that? Tell that story.
Barry Krause was up in there, and we had a bunch of linebackers. They were playing Barry at linebackers, and Barry was on the scout team, and came up, and they were going to go up. I think it was Penn State, and they were going to Penn State, and they didn't have but about 4 or 5 linebackers, maybe one if somebody got hurt. Well, sure enough, somebody got hurt, and they didn't have anybody. So Coach Dye, he puts Krause out there, and he told Krause, he said, line up in the middle, just go to the ball. Well, he did, and he got national linebacker of the week. He made something like about 10, 12 tackles, and Barry Krause didn't ever look back.
Barry Krause got in there, and he went off, and they couldn't take him out. And the guy ahead of him never played again. And Barry
he told Coach, he told Coach Dye, I don't know. And Coach Dye told him, he said, just go to the ball. And that's what he did. And then he ends up with the Colts.
Oh man, I mean Alabama. They talk about this school linebacker U being Penn State, but how can you get better than Leroy Jordan, Barry Krause, Cornelius Bennett, and Derek Thomas? It doesn't.
What about Woodrow Lowe?
Woody Lowe
and
his little brother Eddie. I played against his little brother Eddie in Canada. Matter of fact, Eddie was on my team in Toronto. Okay, and Eddie, I went in for a tackle one time. Eddie was like 5'9", 5'8", but he was like 200 pounds, but he would hit you like he was 240. And so would Woodrow. So his older brother Woody Lowe was even better. But I got to tell you this story because he hit me. He put his head down. I went in for the tackle, and he hit me instead of the ball carrier. And Robin, he collapsed my lung. Yeah, what? I played the rest of the game with a collapsed lung, but I couldn't get a breath. I could only go. I could only breathe like that. I couldn't. But I played the rest of the game, and Eddie Lowe, my own teammate, friendly fire. A lot of people don't realize that friendly fire guys get hurt from their own teammates a lot of times.
Yeah. Because we had to coach Bill Oliver, defensive back coach, and also Curly Holman was a defensive back coach with him. But you had to be around that. You had to be within 5 yards of that ball when the whistle blew.
Yep. That's why that was just relentless assistant coaches he had. All right, Rob, if they had NIL back in the day when we played, what company would you like to represent if you were getting NIL money? Jack Daniels or Budweiser or something?
I don't like Bud. Gives me a headache. I would have been just happy to be with Tito's.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. No more walk-ons.
A lot of people, Paul, and they don't realize this. Going back to that $350 marriage scholarship, all these people, they all say, well, they're getting their school paid for. Well, okay, and they can get another job. Okay, now you tell me this is what, and y'all had the same thing. I know you did. You get up in the morning, 8 o'clock. You have your classes. You have classes from 8 o'clock until 11:30. You go get lunch. Then you come up and you've got to be at the. You're at the
Yep.
Coliseum getting taped at 2 o'clock. Practice starts at 3. You finish up practice at about 5:30 to 6. Then you go eat dinner. Now, where is this second job coming from? And how do you have that much time?
No way. No time. Then you study and do your homework, see your girlfriend, your friend.
These people don't even think about that.
Nope. They don't think about the commitment and the the dedication it takes to go to school and play a sport. Doesn't matter which one.
Exactly.
I was a walk-on, and I'm afraid that we have just become. I never thought I'd live old enough to be a dinosaur, but I don't think there's any more walk-ons anymore. There's 105 now on scholarship, and that's the roster limit. Talk about a walk-on when you were going to school there that earned a scholarship, or that that was impressed coach.
Well, Alan Pizzatola was a walk-on. Alan was a strong safety, and he was out of Birmingham, and he was a walk-on. He worked his way up to where he got a scholarship, and I mean, you got a lot of guys, and they have to go through everything we go through. And what Coach Bryant would do, he would let them say get a room in Bryant Hall.
Yeah.
And of course they had all their meals there.
Right.
But there was no way, and if they made it, they didn't have very much moving or anything to do because they were already in Bryant Hall and they were already getting the meals. But getting those being able to get the financial backing.
Financial was the big thing. They
were treated just like a guy on a 4-year scholarship. As well they should have been.
Yep. Thank you, brother. All right, here we go. Rapid fire round. That's what these questions are, Robin. These are short and stupid questions that require short, intelligent answers. All right, you ready? You ready?
Yeah.
Early bird or nighthawk?
Both.
Ooh, never heard that one before.
Chocolate. Well, you get out of, when I have my lounges, you get out early in the morning, and then you hawking around.
You're burning the candle at both ends.
I had to.
But what a bright color it is. Chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
Blonde or brunette?
Red.
Red.
My wife's got red hair.
Great answer, buddy. Great. Boxers, briefs, or commando?
Commandos.
Spicy or mild?
Spicy.
Rock, rap, or country music?
Beach music.
That's right.
I love the Spinners and the Four Tops.
Oh gosh! All right, sweet or salty?
Salty.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
LeBron or Jordan?
Jordan.
Meat or seafood?
Seafood.
Baseball or football?
You got me at home on that one, Bubba.
That boy. Say both for crying out loud, because you love them both.
I'll tell you what. Love both of them.
Hey, tell a story of Coach Bryant. You would actually, was it true that he would come watch baseball games or with you, or you would go over to his house and watch baseball games?
What it was, he would have. I go over to baseball in the latter when they play in the playoffs. He would. He'd have me go over to his house and everything and watch the game, and he would ask me why that manager was doing such and such and why I was doing that.
Oh my gosh. He would invite you over to his house so he could pick your brain on the strategy of baseball?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was doing that because he wanted to know why the coach was doing what he was doing and what he was trying to accomplish.
All right, so he loved baseball. Actually, I know he liked to play with you when you were playing because he messed with you, but he really loved baseball. He would go see Butch Hobson, all the other players. Talk a little bit about he would go see Butch, and Butch talks about it. I got to get Butch on the show again to talk about those meetings with Coach Bryant. But talk about your buddy Butch Hobson, how badass he was to try to tackle.
I'll tell you what.
His dad, Clell, God rest his soul, just died last year. Clell was 90-some years old, the oldest living quarterback in Alabama history. But talk about how good Butch Hobson, how tough Butch was.
Butch, he played football and baseball. We were together, and we got to be real good friends. Right now, he's living in Demopolis right now. He's just gotten over a bad knee injury, but he is a winner. You want to go to war, you want to make sure Butch Hobson's next to you.
Amen.
You depend on him, and he'll give you 110%. I don't care if he's brushing his teeth.
Gosh, I heard, man, he just looks tough. Butch just looks tough, man. I don't know how Coach Bryant, but, I had Jackie Sherrill on the show last week, and he talked about the 12th man, all those walk-ons on kickoff, and he would go around campus and look at all the tough guys on campus, all the mean son of a guns, and he said that Alabama led the nation last year, averaged 18.9 return. His walk-ons over all the years he did it averaged 15.5. He's like never gave up. They even tackled Bo Jackson, but nobody got past the 50-yard line. Nobody ever returned one past the 50-yard line.
I guarantee you. You get some of those guys. I'm telling you, they have none whatsoever anything thinking about their body.
No regard.
They just got one thing: got to get to that ball and make a tackle.
Oh my gosh, Rob, who do you think would be a great guest for me to have on the show?
Buddy Brown.
Buddy Brown.
Offensive guard. Called him Bearcat Brown. I think he's got a office, not an office, but a bar over in closer to Funiac Spring. He was the other guard. He was the other guard next to Hannah. You had Buddy Brown, and then there was Hannah.
Oh, and man, he would have some great Hannah stories.
Oh, man.
Buddy Brown.
That's why we were running a lot to the right, because that's where both them were.
Buddy Brown and John Hannah. Man, you get at least 3 yards.
I think Buddy Brown was out of Tallahassee, Leon, and he was in our class. And I'm telling you.
When you guys had the 73 reunion, did you tell stories? Did you guys just go back and tell stories that other guys?
Just like all the other ones, you go back, and instead of you getting that 15 yard, it was 30. And then instead of you scoring 4 touchdowns, you scored 5 or 7. And really, I'm not 5'9". I really played at 6 feet. I
go to 6'1", 210 pounds, and I was really 6 foot, 100 25, right? I hear you.
But they all come out. We sit up in that A club room, and we end up not watching the ball game. We all sit up in there and lie about it.
Oh, great! It was great having you on, Rob. Thanks, man.
All right, buddy. Anytime. And I tell you what, we got a long way to go, but we've been down there before.
Well, man, let's get together and have some drinks down at Seville. Have a couple happy hours.
Sound like a winner, my friend.
All right, buddy.
Later.
Peace. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Wow, that was really great. Robin Cary, great strong safety at Alabama in the early 70s, and got some great stories. Thanks for watching the show. Stay tuned for these great messages. If you like the podcast, be sure to share it, like it, go to YouTube, search Paul Tripoli Coach's Corner from my YouTube channel, and subscribe. It's free. Stay tuned for these great messages. Thanks for watching Coach's Corner on the Saturday. Have a great sports weekend, everybody. It's a beautiful day for football. So long.
There's a reason why Hill Kelly in Pensacola is the #1 selling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer between Jacksonville and New Orleans. While other dealers have taken advantage of a competitive market with higher prices, Hill Kelly has discounted prices to the lowest of the year. And Hill Kelly in Pensacola won't surprise you with excessive charges beyond the selling price. Come see why people from Milton, Pace, Foley, Bay Minette, Daphne, Gulf Shores, Mobile, and beyond are driving to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to buy their next new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. At Hill Kelly, the bottom line price and your satisfaction are what really matter. So before you sign, check the bottom line and make the trip to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to see what true local ownership can do for you. At Hill Kelly Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Highway 29 in Car City, Pensacola. Or shop online 24/7 at hillkellydodge.com. When it comes to bottom line pricing, nobody beats a Hill Kelly deal. Nobody.
75 years of service in high tech today. It's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. High tech is a term often applied to advanced services and products in today's marketplace. And today, glass is much more than the simple painted brittle, see-through stuff we hit baseballs through when we were kids. Glass is now a product with unique flexibility in both performance and application. And Pensacola Glass Company is growing right along. That's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray, and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait. Wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.